there's this principle called the 80-20 rule. 80-20 rule is like this. Basically, there was some social behavior observer guy, Pareto or something, I think his name is, right? Pareto, is that how you pronounce it? Something like that. He observed that, in life, 20% usually gives you 80% result. 20% effort gives you 20% result. Or 20% of, for example, if you have plants in your garden, give you 80% of your yield, and 80% after that only give you 20%. To make this understandable, like really clear for you, if you're having a dinner, right, at the masjid or something, 20% of the people eat 80% of the food. Okay? So the first people that are in line, they're sampling everything. So they're like, let me get this, and let me get this, and let me get this, let me get this. Next period, let me get this, let me get this. And then after those 20% have eaten 80% of the food, then comes 80% of the people that have to, deal with the scraps. And they only eat 20%. Okay? Another example of this is the example of fundraisers. If you look at fundraisers, the person who kicks off a fundraiser, $50,000. At the end of the fundraiser, there was a fundraiser I attended where they raised like $1 million for Gaza. And at this fundraiser, there was a group of doctors right at the beginning that donated $300,000. Right? And the people that are donating the bulk of the money, you can count them on your fingers. They are 20% of the people. They give 80% of the money. And then the other 80% are the people giving the 500s, giving the 1000s, and so on and so forth. And 80% of the people only give 20%. So understanding this principle in your life, you might, back to the perfectionist idea, the people that are trying to be perfect, you don't have to do everything. You'll make a to-do list. Your life... success in life does not hinge on you finishing everything on your to-do list. What you need to do is focus on the most important 20% that will give you 80% result. The most important 20% that will, basically turn the tables completely in your scale. If you just did these two things. So back to the example of the sister wanting to do like a fitness class. 20% that would give her 80%, that's what was in my mind. What action would boost her to get 80% of her result? And then I said that it would be an email that she would send out today at the lunch break. That is such a significant step. That's different. Her suggestion was that she wanted to do some research. Is that in the 20%, or is that in the 80%? You can do research and it will help, but it's not going to move you to action. Right? And so I would say to the person, like, I'm looking at that one or two actions that if you do this, there's no going back. That's it. For me, for example, if I'm doing an event, what's the 20%? It's to put it up on a website and send out an email. When I send out the email, sometimes the poster isn't even done for the event. Someone will immediately respond and say, what are you going to be teaching at this event? And I'm like, I don't know. I just made up the title. And I have a general idea of what it is, but there's nothing more to it than that at this point, right? Because that's going to come later, 80-20%, okay? So now what I want you to do is you have some one-year goals and you put quarterly goals. What I want you to do is take one of those goals that you want and make a list of 5 things that you could take action on today. 5 things that you can take action on today. So write 5 things down. So you take one of those one-year goals, the quarterly goals, and say, what's an action that I can take? 5 different actions. Someone want to give me an example? We're talking about something you can do today, which is email. You have phone calls. You can talk to people. You can sign up for things, register, lock yourself into it. Someone want to give me an example of a goal, and we'll try to think of some things that, other than you, Hazem, I don't want to do. Yes, Hasnain. Okay, you want to start a charity organization. That's your one-year goal or a quarterly goal? Okay, so what's a quarterly action? Okay, so it's interesting what I said. So when he said start a charity, I'm like, are you going to start a charity at lunch break today? Maybe not necessarily. That might even be the ultimate vision. And that's why you can't just say, I'm going to do the ultimate vision today at lunch. It's too big a chunk, right? Overwhelms the person, and that's why people, they never do things like this and break it down. They just get overwhelmed with their dream. Again, back to the sisters that'll say something like, I have dreams and I get sad when I don't fulfill them. Because there's no way of breaking it down to right here, right now. So we broke it down from ultimate vision to 1 year goals to quarterly goals. And so as Hasnain said, his quarterly goal is to, what? To start a website? To establish a website. Okay, so what action would you need to take now at the lunch break? Let's count them. You could possibly, do you have a domain name? Okay, so write it down, like signing up for a domain name. What else? Okay, research the developers for the site. Okay, we can write it down and then we'll pick, our 80-20. Research the developers. Yeah, something else? What else could you do? We're talking about today. Okay, so sign up for shopping cart software. Okay, interested parties, no problem. So interested parties. So you got like these 5 things. Now we're talking about 80-20 rule. I'll give you an example of one of these things that will not move you very quickly to your action. That is researching. Researching, you can do it, but it's not in the 80-20 section. Researching is more of, it's like, what's like 1 or 2 things out of these 5 that if you do it at lunchtime, it's going to launch your project like immediately. Okay, so signing up for the domain name, I would challenge even if signing up for, because lots of people have domain names registered. And whenever you go to the website, it says, under construction. Website is coming, okay? So actually, I don't think that moves it, because I've done that. I have all these domain names and all these great ideas that never happen. I would say, my suggestion is this, your shopping cart requires you to pay for it. And the autoresponder service requires you to pay for it. If you've paid for those both things, your payments will freak you out because every month you're being paid. And you can sign up for the website. It doesn't take 5 minutes to do that. And send out emails. I think you can do all 5 during the break. Okay? But the number 2 things that if you run out of time, you can't do all 5 in this break time. But if you couldn't do all 5, I would say the number 1 most important thing is sign up for your shopping cart. No, actually, probably the number 1 thing is the autoresponder. Autoresponder, secondly, would be the shopping cart. Somebody else? We'll do it for one more person. 5 items. Your top 2. Okay, so health, yeah. So, and your 1 year goal is? Okay, so when you say ripped up body, you might be like, okay, you need to get specific about what ripped up means. And so some people base that on the weight on a scale, or other people base it on like, can they see like their abs, for example, 6-pack, 8-pack. So what does it specifically mean to you? Okay, so you would say X, so just put a number in there. Have X biceps, centimeter. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, so you have like in measurement. So I want this measurement, this measurement, this measurement. Here's something I've also seen, just kind of like, this is like a footnote. Sometimes people have things, especially in the area of like health, that isn't necessarily you, right? So you might see the cover of a magazine, or I know for the brothers watching like UFC fighters and stuff like that, every brother sees that, and then they're like, oh, I want to be able to get on the ground at iftar dinners and beat people up like that, right? But that's not you. You might see Donald Trump, and he has a whole bunch of things that you don't want to have anything to do with, right? His lifestyle, his kufr, or whatever it is, right? And the divorces he goes through. You don't want to make yourself feel bad because you're not Donald Trump, or you're not a UFC fighter, or you're not on the cover of Men's Health. You want to see for yourself, or you want to appreciate who you are. I am, and you say your name. This is who I am. And then be the best that you can be, all right? And that's especially for the women, especially with regards to, this whole health crisis where there's all these models that come on the magazines, on TV, and every woman thinks like she's not worthy and she's not beautiful unless she looks like that, correct? And it's like a big campaign that they're trying to do to try to regain, women's confidence, self-esteem. Like they can have whatever shape that they want and still be your best. I'm not saying just accept like that, but you have to accept the situation. You can't blame your body. You're the one who did this to the body. The body was just trying to protect you, right? So trying to blame the body is the one that did this. It's not the body. And the body, like back to the cheesecake, she's like, dude, stop blaming me, right? It has nothing to do with the cheesecake. You're the one who, it's just everybody always trying to throw blame left and right when you have what you have by your choices, right? And it's not good or bad, alhamdulillah. It is what it is. Okay, so now, and then your quarterly goal would be breaking those measurements into smaller chunks. That would be your quarterly goal. Okay, so what would be your action items then? 5 things you need to do today to get this result. Okay, so he said get a trainer. Um, Notice that at this point, your action items deal with automation. Back to the iceberg example that I gave, top of the iceberg is now your conscious decision making. And I said when you have conscious ability, you want to focus on making things automatic so that you're unconscious. Basically, you're like locked into benefit. When someone wants to memorize Quran and they say to me, what's the secret to it? I would say as soon as you have that great resolve and you're moving to action, sign up for a Quran class where you are paying money to attend, and the teacher is, you're paying money and they're responsible to be the teacher there. You don't want any casual, can I read to you after, the her type of thing, because that's not automatic. That's like manual. You've got to follow up, this person missed, and it's just going to collapse. So you got to lock yourself into benefit. So you said, so get a personal trainer. Yeah, what else? Okay, so commit to a schedule. Notice again, back to the thing I was talking about, automation versus doing things manually. Committing to a schedule is manual. And you probably fail on that, but I'm just saying. I mean, that's just the way diets work, because people don't engage their subconscious and they don't automate things. They'll say, you know what, I'm going to work out every 3 times a week, and that works for like 1 month, and then it's back to same old, same old. But anyways, yeah, so commit to a schedule. Next. Okay, stop eating out. Again, it's manual versus automatic. That's totally manual. Okay, but stop eating out. Okay, so not compromising workout schedule. Yeah. Alright, so out of these 4 that you said so far, which one will give you 80% of your result? Okay, so I think there's no doubt that your trainer and everything else was manual. The trainer is the only like automatic thing that's going to happen. Once you've signed up, you've paid for it, then basically you're locked in for X amount of sessions with a trainer and so on. And so what you could do at the lunch break, can you actually sign up for a trainer at the lunch break? Not necessarily. Let's break it down one. Call the fitness place that you want a trainer and ask and say, I'd like to make an appointment for Monday. They're like, yes, Mr. Sayed, we've got 11 o'clock on Monday. Does that work for you? Yeah, that works for me. That's it. You're locked in for that. When it comes to like food, as I said, if you got, for example, if you signed up for some meal plan that was being delivered to you, that could automate your food, so you don't have to worry about eating out or whatever. Everything's already delivered to you. I think WeightWatchers.ca in Canada or .com, they have like meal plans. I think their food sometimes are haram though, but just giving you an example, right? Sometimes they cook with alcohol and things like that. But that's just giving an example of meal plans delivered to your house. And that costs, I think they were saying like $12 a day, which if you eat out, you're already spending that much money. So these foods, you just come home and you microwave them, and then they'll probably give you some guidelines when you're traveling. These are the foods that you need to. And also when you're talking about resources, you might know people that already are healthy when they travel, are already healthy and maintain a schedule. You ask them what do they do, and it's probably like they registered themselves up. Anyways, so the main action item that the brother's going to do is make an appointment to speak to a personal trainer on Monday or Tuesday or something like that. I love that one. Telling a family member to not allow you so that you can blame them. You know what, when coaching, I would tell, right from the very beginning, when people sign up because they want someone to force them to do something, if I was coaching someone, I would say, I don't give a damn about what you do, and I'm just going to tell you you're responsible, not me. And then the person says, what, I'm responsible for this? Because everybody's looking for people to blame, right? When it comes to food, when it comes to everybody's looking for the blame. And so they want someone to force them so that they can fight them. It's really weird. Like, I want, so for example, if Nouri gets a personal trainer, the trainer should say, right from the very beginning, you know what, the results are yours. If you cheat, if you, eat like these ice creams and stuff like that, you're only harming yourself. Right? I've been paid, and it's at the end of the day, right? I'm not trying, because I used to get coaches and mentors, and I would try to cheat them. Meaning that I would have an assignment, and I'd somehow, I didn't do my assignment, and I just make something up. They're like, great, good job, Mohammed. I'm like, yeah. right? And then I fire them after that, and I go find another coach so that I can, make them hold me accountable. And so actually, when I was signing up for a coach, and I was telling like the secretary that I don't want a coach that I can trick. Because I'm very good, I'm a smooth talker, right? I can trick them and make it seem like I'm doing good, progressing, but I'm not. And so, the secretary's like, okay, I have someone perfect. When I got that person, on the first call, he read that in the notes that, that I want someone that doesn't, allow him to cheat. And he said that to me, Mohammed, I don't give a damn if you cheat me. I don't care. I'm being paid. I'll help you, and it's your life. I'm not going to bother trying to chase after you. If you want to, play games, then that's your business. But if you want to, act like that, I don't know if I want to work with someone who has such low standards like that. He was very tough with me, and I loved it. And I started taking responsibility for doing the work myself. And that's where you get like an ultimate like coach, mentor, someone that can actually, put the blame back on you. All right, so if you're asking someone for support, that's a resource as well. Sometimes you have good family members that actually, they're happy for you. If you're trying to become healthy, usually your parents are very happy about this, right? Maybe your spouse, even your spouse. I can't imagine a spouse is not. Sometimes they'll try to, make you cheat, or maybe they're not. Like sometimes one person's on a diet, the other person's not. And the person who's not on the diet is like jealous that someone else is on the diet. I would say turn it around, and you know what? You have like a beautiful bagel or something like that, whole wheat, and like you don't got a beautiful bagel like me. They're like, well, I got cream cheese. I don't need cream cheese. I got a beautiful bagel here. And then start making them jealous that they're not on a diet. I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, you can ask them for help and stuff like that. I've found, like it's a balance for me. I like to have kind of like some discipline, but I rebel when someone's like in charge over me. Right? So if I had, for example, a nutritionist that I had to respond to, if the nutritionist started seeing things that I was eating and started getting mad at me, then I'd be like, you know what, I can't deal with this because I feel like caged in. I like to take responsibility, and I'd like someone to kind of like be beside me, not like over my head, and not way behind me. Just kind of like a personal trainer. Personal trainer is perfect. You just go there, you exercise, didn't care about your nutrition, whatnot. You just exercise with them, and you're done. And you want to sign up for another session? Yeah, sure. And the nutrition is basically on my side of things. What I did is I signed up for a nutrition plan that basically calculates all the foods that you're supposed to eat for like 7 months, and works out all the totals and everything like that. So for me, that's automation. It's automation because I don't like some diet plans. They'll say eat this amount of protein, eat this amount, but every time a meal comes up, I have to figure out the proteins and this and I'll tend to figure out one type of meal and just keep eating that same meal until I get bored out of my mind and then just break it, right? So now with this thing, it customizes like a menu, and I swear now I'm eating better than if I was off, and I don't even call it a diet. I'm eating better because everything's like there's intelligence to it, right? It's the meals that I chose, and they calculated, put it together, and then now all it takes is like, what am I going to eat for lunch? And I just open up, and it says, oh, you know what? For lunch, you have a bagel, whole wheat bagel with low-fat cream cheese, with a side of some strawberries and some V8 juice or something like that. And then I'll be like, and then I'll sit down. I would never have that as a snack, right? Whoever has, and I go to some stores. I'm like, I want low-fat cream cheese on a whole wheat bagel, and give me some V8 juice and a bowl of strawberries. They're like, okay. So they bring it, and now you got like this really cool like intelligent snack. And while you're sitting there, everybody else is like munching on chips and drinking a soda. And I'm getting all the right stuff that I need, and it's like calculated out. To me, that's automation, right? As opposed to having to answer to someone and stuff like that. Anyhow, we're done, inshallah ta'ala. Now is your moment of decision. This is the moment of action, right? This has all been talk, and this is all on paper. It's very safe to do this. Now you actually got to move to action. So during this lunch break, inshallah ta'ala, you've got about an hour and a half. During this hour and a half, we're going to come back. It's like 1:30 right now. We're going to come back at about 2:40. In that time, you are going to eat like a small lunch, and you are going to take action on one of these things. All right, you're actually going to do so. For example, Noor is going to call up that fitness center and book an appointment. Hasnain is going to sign up for like an email service and register his domain name. And other people will be sending out emails to their friends to tell them to sign up, inshallah ta'ala. And we'll check back with the three of them and all of you when we come back after the break, inshallah ta'ala.